All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of the Show Baseball Podcast presented by Beyond the Monster. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, we are diving into the Philadelphia Phillies organization. We got Braydon Tucker on, and Braydon is fresh off winning a Player of the Week award there for High A Jersey Shore for some no-hit innings he threw last week. He had 7 of them between 2 outings, and we do talk about that, obviously what kind of things were working for him to start off the season. He's obviously, he talked about a new pitch that he's adding. And we kind of just dive into obviously the 2 good outings last week. We dive into a little bit to what he's been doing early this season. And then we talk about obviously his offseason and things like that he was doing to prep for this season. Before I get any further, please, whether you're watching me on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is that you get your podcast, please like, subscribe, making a huge push right now on the YouTube channel. Would love to see some more subscribes on there. Obviously, it's free. It's free to do so. So anything helps, and it's always appreciated. But without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Braydon Tucker. All right. I am joined by Braydon Tucker of the Phillies organization. And Braydon is coming off of a Player of the Week this past week for his 2 performances, actually, last week of no-hit ball. And that's exactly where I want to start. You are coming off of a good week like that with a great start. And obviously you came out of the bullpen for another outing. But how are you feeling? What was last week like for you?
I was feeling pretty good last week. I know I wasn't too excited that I wasn't able to pitch on the Sunday prior, and I had to come out of the pen for 7 pitches on Tuesday, and then coming back on Sunday, I didn't feel like 100%. I still felt good enough to go out there and compete. I definitely had my off speed was definitely working. Fastball, I had both sides of the plate, and then continuing to work on a new cutter kind of gyro pitch. Has been something I've been working on probably for the last month. So I had some more success with it in that game. So that's something I really looked forward to using more last week.
That you brought up something there at the beginning of your answer. You had come in and you only threw 7 pitches in your outing on Tuesday, and then you had to wait, a few more days before you ended up making your start for the week. And has that been challenging? Going from relieving to starting like early on the season, has that been like anything you've had to overcome?
I will say doing it early on in the season kind of it throws you off a little bit. Especially early on in the season, we were doing more of like a 5-man rotation with like 3 or 4 piggyback guys kind of coming in after the starter. So like the first full week, I went Tuesday and Sunday against Aberdeen. The first time I went, it was 3 innings, 1 run, and then the second time I went, it was not not good, not good at all. So it was a task early on, but now it's like we're at the halfway point. It's getting kind of like the same thing. It's like your job is the same job. You go in there and try to go through the lineup and just navigate through their hitters.
Yeah, and and I did see that. Obviously, your second outing of the year was the worst outing of the year, but I feel like since then you've kind of settled. It looks like just based off of looking at your back of the baseball card numbers or your box score numbers, it looks like you're starting to settle in a little bit. It looks like you're starting to put together some outings, and obviously, this past week is a testament to that. And so at this point, like of the season, like you said, we're halfway through. Are you like where you would like to be in regards to, obviously like going deeper into starts and, seeing the success you're seeing? Are you satisfied with where you are right now?
I would say I'm satisfied with where I am right now. I mean, going a CG would be awesome for like the look at a stat card, but I don't know how it would do for me the rest of the season, like hypothetically for my health. But like I think early on I went 6 innings and 94 pitches, and I wasn't necessarily ready for that physically, but like mentally, I was ready to do it. Physically, it kind of took a toll on me, so then I kind of had to like take a step back, rebuild back up. Um, so I'm happy with where I am right now because I feel pretty good after last week, especially touching the mound 2 times during that week. Um, and early on in the season, I definitely would have been more sore, but this week I don't feel too bad.
Now, I know this definitely wasn't an option for you in your last game, and you never see a no hitter with one pitcher throwing the whole thing in minor league baseball. Did it hurt you just like a little bit being taken off the mound, having that no hitter going? Like, were you at least like, oh, I would love to see this through, but like, obviously, you know that it wasn't in the cards, but like, did it hurt just a little bit?
Just like a little bit, like maybe like one more inning, but then I had no idea that I was at 90 something pitches already
Yeah.
because it literally felt like I was going out there and I was like throwing like 7 to 10 pitches every time, and it was like, okay, yeah, I'm done. And it's like, I think I went the only time I was in the stretch was when I had 2 walks, and so like that was something where which made it feel like more like, oh, I'm not even in the stretch, like I must not be throwing more than 10 pitches an inning or like 12 because sometimes they were just swinging really like first pitch fly out or like second pitch ground out. So when he
Yeah,
said 90 something and he said, "Oh, that's it for today," I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're at 90 something." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Yeah, I feel like it's just one of those days. You're in such a groove. You're just like you're feeling. Obviously, didn't allow a hit, and you're just. I don't know. I feel like you probably could have kept motoring through, but you never see that in minor league baseball. Obviously, you're not going to see a guy go 8, 9 no hit innings. I feel like I haven't seen it in years. So, but I did want to know, like, if it hurt a little bit. It sounds like it maybe did, but you got through it. You did mention to me earlier, you talked about adding a pitch and that you're starting to incorporate a new pitch. And I do want to kind of ask you a little bit about, your off season leading up to this year. Obviously you're now entering your, I guess, 2 years since you joined professional baseball. What did you use your off season for, and like what kind of things were you working on?
This off season I was training mainly on just getting my arm built for a longer season. I know the year before I threw just over 100 innings and my velocity was down. There was outings where I was sitting 87 to 89. Um, Personally, that's not gonna cut it for myself, and I know that's not gonna cut it for the people higher above looking at me saying like, "Hey." Um, it was more so getting my arm ready, kind of building that strength, a little bit more weighted balls, um, playing catch for at a like 120 to 200 feet, just depending on where I was progressing throughout my throwing program. And trying to stay out there just extended times, like nice and easy, like just getting my throwing volume up to make sure I'm ready to go for the season. So it's not such a big jump once I get to spring training.
Yeah, and was that something that, obviously, like I had just said, you're coming up on 2 years in professional baseball. Is that something like, that you did differently this past offseason compared to, let's say, the offseason before? Is that like a something that you were like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing a little more. It's like not my first offseason. Was that like a big change for you?
Yeah, that's definitely something I was able to take away compared to my first off season where looking back, I wasn't ready enough. Like my arm wasn't ready and prepared enough to go 50, 60 plus pitches a few weeks into the season. Whereas this year, I felt like I was able to take that into my off season training or this past off season training and put in different ways to get myself ready for those situations.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it too. You had the most innings pitched in a year in your entire career. You had over 100 innings last year. You hadn't logged that. I mean, I think you logged almost 100 your final year at Lipscomb. But is that, going into the offseason, was that something that you had targeted of like, I want to pitch more than what I did last year? You want to hit a certain innings pitch limit? Like, was that anything that you had like a goal in mind coming into this year?
No, not really. I mean, it's like fun to see those at the end of the year, but like it's because I know last year I missed two starts or like two outings back to back because of I had like neck spasms. But this year I haven't missed any, but there's been some times where I've kind of had to get my volume down because I made a huge jump in volume and I have to go back down. But now I feel like I'm in a good spot to continue building. Um, the hundred innings mark is a good mark. I was happy to do it my first full year and stay healthy arm wise. And that my main goal was just to get my arm ready, just to stay healthy again this year. So possibly be able to do that. Knock on wood.
Well, you're doing pretty good if you're already almost to July and you've knock on wood, you haven't had any hiccups yet. But um, so obviously we talked about your off season a little bit, what stuff you were doing. You were entering as well. What your second spring training, your first as a non-rookie, I like to call it, because obviously I feel like your first spring training, it's probably pretty overwhelming. I would assume it's the first time that you're around every single player in the organization at the same time. That's why I love spring training, because everybody's there. What did you? How did you handle your spring training and possibly being around like guys from higher levels, like Double A guys, Triple A guys? Like how did you handle spring training?
Yeah. I mean, the first one I was definitely just like kind of shell shocked a little bit, but not too much. It's really just I want to go in there and compete and earn the respect of my teammates, um, and the people who are the higher ups. My idea of learning or earning respect is I know I have something that they like, so why not just go and throw it in the zone as much as I can, and then go from there, get more attention, and then start honing in different skills. Um, Whether that's my pitch profiles, velocity, weight, anything like how I move. Those are all things that matter, but I would say the first thing that mattered for me for the spring training was showing people around me and showing people who I was talking to about pitching, like who am I and what can I do best? And that's throwing strikes, being in the zone a lot, whether that's I people talk about swing and miss and whiffs. I look at them all the same as if I miss the barrel, that for me that's like a whiff. That's a whiff in my book.
Interesting.
If I miss that big meat part of the barrel.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's something that's talked about more often now. Obviously, you see barrel percentages thrown out there, things like that. And I feel like if you are missing them, I feel like you're limiting damage, which is just as good as getting a swing and miss. I feel like you're not wrong there. All right, so I am going to go a little off the field here for a second. I'm going to be honest with you. I did look at your Instagram, and you are baseball through and through. You are everything is baseball. There is nothing else on there. Like I don't know anything else that you do like outside of baseball. So I'm going to ask you this: if you have a Monday off day, like you do every Monday in minor league baseball, how are you spending that off day?
Oh, I really am not doing much. I'm really not doing much. I don't pick up a baseball. I try to stay as cool as I can. I'm not trying to go because I pitch on the Sundays. I did all of last year. It's like I'm out there. It's hot. It's humid. It's like Monday. I'm waking up. I'm taking a nice shower. I'm going getting food. I'm coming back. I'm sitting inside. I'm watching a movie or something, or I'm playing a video game. I'm trying to stay as cool as possible and possibly get back and rehydrated.
Is that, I don't know if I just heard this correctly. So you are a pitcher in minor league baseball that does not golf on the off day.
I have my golf clubs. I made my dad bring them. But I just can't do back to back days out in the sun trying to golf. Now, it depends. Maybe I could, but at this time of the year, it gets pretty rough. Like my arms are burnt right now, especially from the jerseys that we wear on Sundays, which fan favorites. Everybody on the team likes them.
What are they? I don't know.
They're like it's not a gold, and it's not like a sandy yellow. It's like a mustard yellow
Okay.
cutoffs. So yeah, we wear the mustard yellow cutoffs, and I just have like a red compression short sleeve shirt. Um, yeah, we had yellows at Lipscomb, but we never wore them
Yeah.
because nobody liked the yellow.
Love that. So obviously you're dealing with that, but I don't know. I still can't get past a pitcher who doesn't golf. Like, you are in a serious minority. Just know
I
that.
love
Like,
golf. Golf was my first sport when I was a kid,
really?
and then
Okay.
I started to pick up pitching.
Okay. Yeah. Every time I ask a guy what they're doing on the Monday off day, it's golfing or it's video games. So at least you kind of you can hit 50% of it, I guess. Are you
Yeah,
using a real 99 card?
I did. I got the World
Okay.
Series, and I had my real 99. Got the
There we
parallel
go.
5, and I really haven't played the show in a few weeks.
That's okay.
So
At least you got the real 99 and used it, and as long as they didn't do you dirty on the velocity or anything like that, because I've heard some horror stories of some guys that throw a lot harder than what their card says they do. So
it, that would be me.
oh,
I, I
okay,
I got the good end of the stick with him.
okay, that's good. Love to hear that. Okay, so yeah, I do want to ask this. I got a couple more for you, and then I will let you slide here. You spent some years at University of Indiana there in the Big Ten, and I think I'm a Mizzou guy, so I think SEC is superior to everything. That's just like what they say to us when we go to an SEC school. I guess Mizzou is sort of an SEC school. But for the Big Ten, I feel like baseball is a little slept on. I feel like everybody just says basketball, starting to be football. I think it's starting to be a baseball conference. And I think that, what the Big Ten's doing right now with how many teams are sending, every year now, like to Omaha and things like that. Not this year, but this in previous years. What was your experience like playing in the Big Ten?
Um, there's definitely with the addition of like UCLA, Oregon, Washington, and USC, it's definitely going to start bringing more attention. For recruiting, though, I don't know how it will affect recruiting. I'm not on that side, but my experience there, um, there was a lot of under underrated guys where it's like you go compete and it's like you pull up the draft and you're watching the draft, you're looking for your name, and it's like you start seeing like Big Ten arms get drafted, like some Big Ten hitters get drafted, and it's like there's a lot more than people think, especially out there in all of professional baseball right now. So there was a lot of talented teams. On any given weekend, anybody could have won a series. Like it was so, I don't want to say hit or miss isn't the right word, but there was different years where different programs had loaded guys because they recruited the guys and even before the transfer portal really hit off. When we got that year of eligibility for free once COVID hit, there was a lot of good players on a lot of good teams. Maryland hosted a regional. Michigan went to the College World Series. You can go on and on. Rutgers had a really good team that got snubbed at the tournament. If people don't remember that, really, they had a pretty good team that year. I like Nebraska, Minnesota. They have a long history of it. Indiana, I mean, I went there. There's still they missed the playoffs this year, but they had been going to regionals, gotten a regional final. Uh, like you can go on and on. Purdue had a decent year, but
We don't like Purdue, do we?
no.
it's, it's all right. All right. So I have one question left for you here before I let you slide. You're obviously coming off of a Player of the Week award this past week, and I know you probably didn't go into the week saying I wanted to win Player of the Week, but it happened. And minor league baseball, put your name out there. It's got to be a cool feeling. But now, like you mentioned this earlier, we are pretty much at the halfway point. I like to say the All-Star break is for the major league season, but I guess the minor league season, we're pretty much at a halfway point. So for yourself, what do you like? I don't know if you're a goals guy, like if you have personal goals you like to hit, if you have statistical goals, whatever it is. What are you looking to accomplish here in the second half of the minor league baseball season in 2025 to finish strong?
Oh, well, I mean, I already said healthy, but that's like usually my only goal is like stay healthy. Um, but for you're asking for like a statistical standpoint, I would say I don't like to
Or even
chase
personal?
I don't really like to chase the numbers that like are all like public data. Like everybody's like whip. It's like if I do this, then everything else should look better. And for me, that's first pitch strike percentage. How fast can I get the two strikes? And how many times can I win a 1-1 count? But if I don't do any of those, how can I not walk him? What can I do to not walk this guy? And that I think that just starts from like mentally preparing and visualizing myself throwing all of my pitches in the zone for strikes and like just imagining a hitter up there swinging and missing every time to just give myself that pre-confidence that I'm already going to be in the zone and that my stuff's going to work so I don't have to doubt anything.
Yeah, and I think if you couple that with staying healthy, I feel like you have a pretty good mix of for the rest of your season there. And but with that, Braydon, I do appreciate all the time. Obviously, thank you so much for hopping on and doing this. Wishing you nothing but the best for the rest of 2025, and hopefully see you up in Double A towards the end of the season here. But thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.